We thought we were in for a classic camping trip, sharing stories, laughter, and toasted marshmallows around the campfire. The crackling flames cast a warm glow on our faces as we took turns weaving spooky tales that sent shivers down our spines. It was the kind of night that made us feel alive, surrounded by friends and the embrace of nature. But then, as if on cue, the atmosphere shifted. The woods around us seemed to come alive with an eerie symphony of sounds. It started as a distant rustling, like leaves being stirred by an unseen wind. We paused our storytelling, exchanging uneasy glances as the sounds grew closer, closer than they should have been. It was as if the very forest held its breath, waiting for something that we couldn't comprehend. My heart pounded in my chest as we huddled closer to the campfire, our eyes darting in all directions, searching for the source of the sounds that seemed to surround us. The crackling fire did little to drown out the unnerving cacophony that seemed to come from every direction at once. A cold sweat broke out on my forehead as I strained to identify the individual sounds. Whispers, faint footsteps, distant laughter that echoed through the trees. Tension hung in the air like a heavy fog as the minutes ticked by, each one stretching into an eternity. We exchanged worried whispers, our voices barely audible above the symphony of eerie sounds. Panic threatened to grip us as we realized that we were no longer sure of our surroundings. The woods that had felt so familiar now felt like an intricate maze, twisting and shifting in the darkness. Fearful glances were exchanged, and someone suggested that we should head back to the safety of our tents. But as we stood up and began to move, our steps became unsure, our sense of direction twisted and distorted by the haunting sounds that seemed to manipulate our perception. Panic turned to terror as we realized that we were lost in the very forest we had come to enjoy. Time blurred as we stumbled through the underbrush, branches scratching at our skin, the sounds growing louder and more disorienting with every step. Exhaustion gnawed at us, and just when it felt like we were on the brink of complete despair, a faint glimmer of light pierced through the trees. Our campfire. Relief washed over us as we stumbled back into the circle of light and warmth. But the experience had left its mark, a lingering unease that settled deep within us. We exchanged stories of what we had heard and felt, each of us haunted by the unsettling symphony that had shattered the tranquility of our campfire tales. Even now, as I recount this story, I can still hear those eerie sounds echoing in my memory, a reminder that there are mysteries in the wilderness that defy explanation. We left the campsite the next morning, but the questions remained. What had caused those sounds, and were we truly alone in those woods? The experience taught us that even in the safety of a group, the darkness of the forest can hold secrets that challenge our understanding of the world around us. It was a weekend camping trip that my friends and I had been planning for weeks. The allure of disconnecting from our busy lives and embracing the serenity of nature had drawn us to this remote spot. We set up our tents near a tranquil lake, excited about the adventure ahead. Little did I know that this trip would leave me questioning the boundary between reality and the inexplicable. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm orange hue across the landscape, we decided to capture the picturesque scene. With our smartphones in hand, we eagerly snapped photos to share on social media. I adjusted the angle, applied an Instagram filter, and clicked a selfie, the background a canvas of natural beauty. Days later, as I was scrolling through my photos, a chill ran down my spine when I saw the selfie again. In the background, among the trees, was a faint figure that sent shivers through my body. It was a silhouette, its features obscured by shadows, yet its presence undeniable. I zoomed in, hoping it was a trick of the light, but there it was, a distinct shape that shouldn't have been there. I tried to rationalize. Maybe it was a fellow camper, someone who had wandered into the frame accidentally. But my heart raced as I compared that image to others we took that day. In every photo, that figure appeared, as though it had followed us, haunting each shot. Unease settled in, and I shared my discovery with my friends. They too were taken aback, unable to explain the phenomenon. Some suggested it was a prank, a friend in our group playing tricks. But the truth was more unsettling. None of us knew who that figure could be. As the camping trip went on, a sense of unease lingered. Every rustle of leaves, every distant sound seemed magnified, as if the woods were holding its breath, waiting. We snapped more photos, hoping to capture evidence of the figure's continued presence. And in every image, there it was, lurking among the trees, its presence casting a shadow over the beauty of our surroundings. Sleep became difficult, our tents feeling flimsy and insufficient in the face of the unknown. Each night as I lay on my sleeping bag, the forest seemed alive with whispers that I couldn't quite catch, as if secrets were being exchanged just beyond my hearing. When the trip finally ended, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something had changed, that the woods held secrets far beyond our comprehension. I scrolled through the photos once more, my heart pounding, and then made a decision. I deleted them all, every image that held that eerie figure. It was as if by erasing the evidence, I could erase the unsettling truth it represented. We were all gathered around the campfire, the crackling flames casting dancing shadows on our faces. Laughter, the clinking of cups, and the hum of conversation filled the air as we enjoyed the camaraderie of our camping trip. The stars were out in full force, their twinkling light seemingly painting a picture of perfect serenity. As the night deepened and the campfire burned lower, the suggestion of a late-night stroll was met with unanimous enthusiasm. It seemed like a great idea, a chance to soak in the tranquility of the woods and the brilliance of the starlit sky. My friend Sarah and I ventured off the beaten path, our footsteps quiet on the forest floor. The moonlight filtered through the trees, casting a silvery glow that bathed everything in an otherworldly light. The woods were a symphony of rustling leaves and distant chirps, a soothing backdrop to our whispered conversation. Sarah and I were caught up in our own world, talking about life, dreams, and the endless expanse of the universe. And then, it happened. One moment, Sarah was walking beside me, her voice a gentle murmur in the night, and the next moment, she was gone. My heart raced as I turned around, expecting to see her just a step behind me, but she wasn't there. Panic surged through me as I called out her name, my voice a desperate plea that was swallowed by the silence of the woods. I retraced my steps, my flashlight cutting through the darkness as I looked for any sign of her. And that's when I saw it. Her backpack, her shoes, and even her jacket, all scattered in a bizarre pattern on the ground. It was as if they had been discarded with purpose, each item carefully placed in a way that defied explanation. Fear clawed at my chest as I realized that something was very wrong. I called out for the others, and soon the entire group was combing the area, our flashlights cutting through the night like beacons of hope. But despite our efforts, there was no sign of Sarah. The hours stretched on, each one filled with mounting dread and anxiety. The woods that had seemed so familiar in the daylight now felt like a labyrinth of shadows and uncertainty. And then, just when hope was fading and desperation was setting in, a faint voice reached our ears. It was Sarah's voice, but it sounded distant and disoriented. We followed the sound and found her stumbling through the underbrush, her eyes wide with fear and confusion. She was muttering about strange lights that had surrounded her, blinding and disorienting her. We helped her back to camp, and the relief of finding her was tinged with a lingering unease. The woods had taken on a scary aura, and Sarah's experience left us all with more questions than answers. What had she encountered out there? What were those lights she had seen? The campsite that had buzzed with excitement was now heavy with an unsettling feeling.